All right. It's been a really good start to the week. I've been very pleased with the players and and how attentive they've been. They've been very much, practicing with an intent to improve, and I appreciate that. We needed to have a really good day today, and had a good physical practice, and felt like we're making some improvements. So we need to have another great one tomorrow, and uh, try to continue to move forward.
With the two bye weeks, what are you doing this time around to make sure you're keeping the guys up to date, healthy, but also
Yeah,
what they need to do?
it's a little different. Each bye week, it just depends on when it falls. And so this one is fairly early in the season. And so our guys are still relatively fresh. Of course, we have some injuries and guys that are down with injury, but outside of that, our guys are in pretty good shape and pretty good position. And so I really wanted to push them this week. As you know, we need to get a little better in a lot of areas, and so so we've been working on that, and they've been great. And so this week could be different from the next one. We'll see. But this week we're working hard and trying to improve.
Mark, is there any long-term injury situations, or is it guys that
No,
can be back?
nothing that I could. No, if I had something to tell you that was going to be, 3, 4, 5 weeks, I'd tell you. No, nothing like that.
Mark, after the game, Brad was pretty frustrated about how the defense played and said this would not be an easy bye week for the defense. How have you
Yeah.
seen those guys respond?
Yeah, they've responded. I mean, in the game Saturday, it was quite aggravating because I think we got off to a really good start defensively, and then a couple plays can just shift that momentum so quick, and it did. And I really felt like, offensively, like during the game myself, I felt frustrated. But then you look at it, and we scored touchdowns on 4 of the first 6 drives in the first half. That's pretty efficient, and I'll take that. But then defensively, giving up those plays, you know, just set us back a little bit. And really, the same thing in the second half, of not being able to get stops, not getting them off the field. Outside of, I think we started with a 3 and out maybe, but it was just kind of aggravating. And but there's always stuff to work on, stuff to learn from. And we're not very good if you don't play on that edge. And you get off to a good start and we're scoring points, and defensively, I don't know what it is, whether it's a mentality or just mentally slipped up a little bit, but just a lot of areas we can improve. Again, I want to give them credit because they're efficient and they came out and played well.
Mark, you played so many guys in that game. Did you find out anything about some of those guys that maybe jumped out and said, "Hey, this guy may
Yeah,
be missing"?
I don't mean to be demeaning, at all, but I found out we need a lot more work. We need a lot of work, and so I like those guys. They're very good players. They're talented, but we need reps. And that's why we got to practice hard, and we're doing a little more good on good this week than we normally would, and need to get those guys better.
It went viral, kind of Zach coaching up Cutter on the sideline during the game. How's the quarterback bin room during this bye week? Where are they really focused on?
I mean, I didn't hear that or know that, but that doesn't surprise me at all. The group is very good and very supportive of each other. It always is, and this team has been like that.
Everybody good?
You talked about how early this bye week falls in the season on your teleconference this morning. You said this weekend all the coaches are going to be recruiting. Do you feel like with it being this early, is it more of a benefit or a detriment to be on a recruiting trip?
I don't know. We'll see. I just have to play it the way it is, right? Those are the cards that were dealt to us, and I have to make sure we maximize it and do the very best we can.
Mark, I had a 25-yard punt return. That was the longest punt return you guys have had in 2 years. How positive was that to see?
Yeah, it was good. I think the clean catch, they kind of a lower ball, and we should try to make somebody pay for it when we do that. And it was a good moment during the game to get some good field position as well. So it was good for his confidence, I think, too.
With so much roster change from last season to this season, what are you telling the newer guys? Hey, we're about to go on the road, SEC. What is it like to prepare them?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't done the crowd noise yet or anything. We'll get into that. Probably, a little too much teaching we wanted to get done still through today and tomorrow. Next week we'll crank that up. I mean, there's not much you could say. I mean, we'll work the counts, the silent count, and work our operation. Do the best we can in preparing for it. some of our guys have played in those type of environments, and some have not. But I'm not sure. If you have any words of wisdom for me, I would be glad to tell them if they if they could be if they could be prepared for that with some words. So yeah.
What about Sept's impact on the team? Really stepping up and only Cutter's second start, but he's really become a
Yeah.
point of the offense and up the team.
Yeah, I may have said that to you guys after the game. I can't remember, but I did tell the team that I challenged the team Saturday morning to play well around somebody. You got a young guy starting for the second time, and everybody needed to step up a little bit and play sharper. We were, that was the point of emphasis all last week anyway. Same with this week, and it was really, Seth's been playing good all year. I would say he stepped it up in that game, but he played good in games 1 and 2 as well.
Obviously it came out of unfortunate circumstances last year. We had Jason Patterson, who got a lot of reps. You got to put him in against Eastern Michigan and got to score his first collegiate touchdown. What did you like about what you saw out of him with Dante going out?
Yeah, JP, you probably heard me mention it several times. These guys are having fun. I guess we didn't work hard enough today. No, but JP is somebody that is, we're getting more and more trust with him because of how he practices, how he operates. It was really good for him to get in there and get some carries. Like I said, about Cutter, Dante was a little dinged up in that game. You don't want anybody to get hurt, but you're always excited to see what that guy's going to do. And with JP getting the opportunity, I was happy for him, and he played well.
Coach, you've got 4 married guys on this team. Josh Rondick, Gusta, Cole Lehner, and Wilson Berry. Obviously, anyone could get married, but is there anything about the 4 of those guys that carry themselves a little bit differently? Do they lead in a specific way, or do you think that there's nothing?
I don't notice anything, but I didn't put any thought into that. They're all very mature young men, and they're all great teammates and very good leaders. But I could say that about some other guys as well. So.
You notice anything with Cutter in practice coming off a really strong performance?
Yeah, I think with Zach being in the situation that he's in, just getting more reps in general. With you could see him getting better. Just improving and being more comfortable. But I've said that all the time. I've said that after every practice, right? For a young guy, each rep that he takes in a game or in practice, he's getting better and he's getting more comfortable.
Josh Gaddis was on the radio show on Monday night, sitting in there, and he said something to the effect of, Cutter just seemed like he's out there having fun. I think he referred to him as like a big golden retriever.
Well, I just think, sometimes there's just enough of that could be good, right? But the player has to go play well. Whatever their demeanor is, whatever their personality is, a lot of times, players can rally around that. I think Cutter's a very likable person. He's always had a great personality. And, again, I think he's getting more confident, getting more comfortable, and the guys were, excited to see him play.
As you talk about, kind of getting some of those guys developed, getting those guys more reps, I believe Bush on the radio show was asked about some of those younger guys like Stone Saunders, Tavani Mizell. What have you seen out of those guys, and where do you feel like they're at?
I mean, all of our guys, we've been very intentional this year. Certainly to this point, we'll see how it goes, as we keep on moving forward. But we're trying to do a lot more with pushing those guys and developing those guys and getting them more reps. And so, sometimes that means, extending practice a little bit or a little longer or things like that. But we have to keep on pushing and keep on developing guys.
Mark, you've already mentioned being on the road recruiting. I mean, obviously you'll look at the film, but do you ever like watching the games live, like when you try to get a look at South Carolina?
Yeah, of course. You always try to watch games and just pick up things and just watch it as a fan and see the flow of it and maybe what you're anticipating with calls and things of that nature in plays when you can, but not always.
As you and Bush think about, the right decision at quarterback at the right time throughout these games, how transparent are you in these conversations with the quarterback room? Are they included? Is that something that you come to them later once you come to more of a decision? Or
we make the decision and always want to be very respectful to the young men. they work their entire lives for these opportunities. It's very important to them, and it's very important to us.
Anybody else? Alrighty.
Okay, thank you.